majority of my training in the shoes that I plan to race in, so that I know how my feet feel with that shoe. And so even when I did the 24-hour World Championship, I did the majority of my training in my racing shoes. I actually cut my shoes to alleviate any sort of pressure hot spots where I might have problems with my feet. And I know my socks, I know my feet, and as long as I can keep my feet happy, like, I mean, that's a huge, huge difference maker for ultra runners.
So it's very much something where people need to find what works best with them. I'm fortunate to have found some companies that work very well for me and that I've worked with for a number of years now. My shoes are always some variant of La Sportiva. They make things that I can tailor to the conditions quite well. An Ultimate Direction running vest, which is quite important to have comfort and be able to access things and trust your pack. And then also one of the most important things is socks and base layer, because it's that layer against your skin that's really going to prevent those tiny things that can become major problems in ultras, like chafage and blisters. So I've worked with Exoskin, a company based in the US, on that end for a while now, and it's important to just really find something that you are comfortable in and that works best for you, regardless of what works for your friend or anyone else.
You've got to have a good sports bra if you're a girl. You really have got to have a good sports bra. I mean, I went through years of double bagging my boobies. I'm just going to tell you that. I double bag the puppies because I'm a bit obsessed about, I think, well, once you wreck the tissues in your boobs, that's it. They're not growing, nothing's happening, no repairs going on there. That's it. They're going to be down around your ankles by the time you're 80. So I actually used to wear 2 sports bras for years, and I found that they would cut into me and be a bit uncomfortable. But I've recently found, I mean, I wear Brooks, not that that's a plug for them at all, but I like the Brooks ones. But I think find a really good sports bra, and then it doesn't chafe, it makes sure you're really comfortable. So that is definitely a top tip for a bit of kit, one that I couldn't do without. And the second thing I couldn't do without is my buff, which this one happens to be Wild Ginger Running. There you go, can you see that? Yeah, gotta love it. Wild Ginger Running buff, because it can be everything. It can be a headband, it can be a Rambo headband, it can be something to keep your neck warm, it can be a snot rag, anything you need, this buff has got it covered.
It depends on where you are, where you've started from, and what your goals are. That's right, Claire Maxted. Pants that don't chaff. I've gone commando style. It does work, but as a long-term kind of go-to, it's really not recommended. So the fallback is lubrication. So test your pants, and if your pants fail, have some lube.
2 things. One is like a sensible thing and one is a comfort thing. So the sensible thing is a good head torch. So I have run with a very bad head torch before, and it's so stressful. If you can't see where you're going and it's dark and you're tripping over roots, you're just going to have a terrible time. So invest in a very good head torch. The other thing that I couldn't live without, comfort-wise, is a very, very good pack. So a good running pack that I know can fit everything in. So my Ultimate Direction one is the one that I have always used. It's the first pack I ever bought. It's falling apart and needs sewing up and looking after. It's really important to note that actually everyone's really different, and it's really important, like with your shoes, to go try them on. Find out where the pockets are, find out how it fits, find out how it sits. The one that I use is a man's one because it fits me fine. But I know that there are women who have tried the same one on, but it doesn't fit with their body shape. So definitely, if you're investing in a pack, because they are an investment and they are a lot of money, spend the money, but also find one that fits you personally.
Carry as little as possible. You've got to think about what you actually need against the mountain of crap that you could fill your bag with. Pack what you think you need and then look at it bit by bit and say, is this really going to impact my performance in a positive way? Because ultimately, if you're unlikely to use it, you're just carrying weight and it's just stuff that's going to clutter your mind. It's the same with your drop bags, really. So just keep it simple. All I would say kit-wise, apart from obviously short shirt and socks and shoes, if it's bad weather, make sure you've got a decent wicking base layer and a decent waterproof jacket, because those 2 things, they're not just going to improve your experience, they're potentially going to save your race in its entirety.
I have 2 things when I'm on an ultra that I really depend on, apart from just normal clothes, is having the right shoes And I run in shoes that are about a size to size and a half too big for me, so it allows my feet to swell. But you have to find the right shoes. I got wide feet, so I can have big shoes because it kind of works. But make sure you've got really comfortable shoes that you can use again and again, and then have a good backpack. Because if you're using a race vest or something and it starts rubbing in a race, or the pockets aren't working, then it can be a real distraction, and then that takes away from your ability to focus on the running. So a really good race pack and really good running shoes.
Gear for ultras, I mean, obviously you've got like shoes, you want ones which are comfortable, ones that give you the right amount of grip so you don't have to worry about slipping over and things like that. Having like waterproof clothing to keep your heat regulated and things like that, but they're all very normal things to think about. But I think that the most important thing that I probably wouldn't leave behind is my watch, because I can then look at the time that I've been running and the distance, and then that can help my nutrition plan. So for instance, maybe not in an ultra, but you can use something similar as to set an alarm. So every 10 minutes you get a beep, you take a drink, and then every other beep or every third beep you take a gel or some food. So that means no matter what happens, you're running a 2-hour downhill, at some point you'll get the beep and you'll remember to eat. You won't just be lost in concentration and then realise you've run out of energy later on.
For me, overall it has to be about shoes, because if you haven't got your shoes right for an ultra, then you're putting yourself at a massive disadvantage. So for me, it's about having comfortable shoes that fit and the right socks to go with them. So if I'm allowed to name a brand, for me, Hoka Speed Goats all the way, because of the cushioning, the comfort, the grip, the balance of the whole thing. That's my go-to ultra shoe without any shadow of a doubt. I love them to bits. Those and a pair of compression socks, and I know that my legs are sorted.
I generally, personally, like close-fitting tops. It's more one I assume for the boys here, but I've suffered with some very impressive nipple chafe in the past, and I just think something that's nice and soft, sort of ideally made from recycled materials, and sort of hugs the body is probably going to help you when things get a bit chafy.
Okay, so my best bit of gear actually is a buff. I love them because you can use them as a hat, you can use them to shield, in the sandstorm. I have worn mine as a little crop top, I've worn mine as a mini skirt. They are the most versatile bits of kit in the entire world. And I think the best bit of advice coming up to an aid station or going in a race is actually don't muck around at the checkpoints. So many people faff around and don't do something. Get your bottles changed, grab some food, and actually walk out and eat as you're going. And then at least you're moving forward, you're not wasting any time.
So a lot of people like to wear running vests where the pockets are really handy, really accessible at the front. So you need to make sure that your fuel is in the right pockets, and try and remember what you put in what pocket. You don't want to be diving into one pocket to get a cheese sandwich and you're putting out a gel, or vice versa. So remember what you put where, but keep things in really handy portion sizes. So you don't want to be trying to break bars in half or consume large sandwiches. So everything's got to be really easy to eat on the run. Okay. Sometimes if you are going for a shorter run, so something around about 10 miles, 20 miles, you might find that a running belt is perfectly sufficient, and that's what I prefer actually. I like the idea of something around my middle rather than something closer to the top. So running belts, you can easily, it's surprising how much you can fit in there. You can fit in bars, you can fit in gels, you can even fit in bananas actually, and that's another favourite of mine that I like to take on my runs. In fact, you definitely don't need to be buying high-tech supplements. You can get all the nutrition you need by making it yourself. It works so much cheaper, you know exactly what's in it. And think about it, that top elite runners have fueled themselves on real food for years and years and years. Supplements are quite a recent invention. I prefer to make my own bars. I will combine different types of nuts and dried fruits. It could be almonds, it could be coconut, it could be ground cashews, and I'll combine them with say apricots, with oats, with dates and different types of fruits. So you've got a whole variety of things. But not only does it work out cheaper, but it's just as easy to make a big batch in advance, and then you've got supplies for 7